Hey there. How would you like to have a strategy that as soon as you implement it, it builds trust with your students and the parents, and it allows them to be able to get to know you a little bit better, and it allows you to get to know them a little bit better? Well, stay tuned as I share all about it. Hey there, my name's Joanne Kaminski, and when I got started with my online reading tutoring business, I knew that I needed to have a strategy that would allow me to get to know my students a little bit better. And what better way than through giving a free reading assessment? Now, I knew that it was going to be a little bit time consuming to be able to do something like this for free, but I thought, what if I find out all of the information that I need about my client so that I can actually help them in the best possible way? And so I thought, you know what? I know that there are a lot of tutors that are going to charge for a reading assessment because it is their time. But what if I use this tool as something that allows me to really to get to know my student, what they're struggling with, and then I can have a conversation with the parent to be able to close that gap. So that's exactly what I did. I decided, you know what, I'm going to give away a free assessment. I am then going to have a sales conversation with a parent about moving forward with tutoring. And it ended up being a win-win situation. Very few people would say no to my online tutoring services. Very few people would ask about my pricing and how much I charged and then complain about how much it was that I charged, even though I'm charging $75 an hour at this point. Now, in the beginning, I was charging $40 an hour. And at that point, I thought, wow, this is a lot of money. Like, I thought people would totally complain about it, and they did not. So I think this is something that can really work for a lot of people. And I began sharing it with other tutors as well. Now, this isn't something that works with everybody that you're going to be working with. Not all areas of tutoring work well with this strategy. But I did find that with like reading, with math, with English language learners, that there are lots of really great assessments that are out there that you can utilize to be able to get information about your student and then be able to share that with the parent. Now, this strategy makes it all about the student at this point. And this is great because it shouldn't be focused all on us. It should be focused on what are the needs that the student before me right now has, and how can I serve them best? That's the job, right? The job isn't about how many classes I've taken, how many years experience I have. While all those things do help at the end of the day, they aren't the most important thing. The most important thing is the student that is in front of you. And if that assessment is all about the student, and then the feedback that you give afterwards to the parent is all about the student, they're going to question you less and less. And they're going to question your ability to be able to help their child less and less. So this is definitely something that works well, like I said, with math and reading. And if you like videos like this, where we share different strategies on how you can be able to get online tutoring students, then hit that like, hit that subscribe so that you can keep getting notified when videos just like this come on out. Now, I mentioned this strategy to somebody who had just joined my reading interventionist program. Her name was Sharon. And Sharon had decided, you know, I'm taking this class and Joanne's showing me how to take the QRI-6 assessment. And so what I want to do is I want to practice this assessment with some of my students while I'm getting familiar with the testing. And she decided to take this as a win-win opportunity. She's like, you know what? I'm going to throw it on out there everywhere I possibly can that I'm looking for students to be able to give this assessment to while I practice and I get used to being able to give the assessment. And this strategy worked out well. She had a ton of parents that would raise their hand and say, I want to be able to take this assessment with you. And so she used it as an amazing opportunity to say, okay, well, I'm going to give the assessment and then I'm going to chat afterwards. And then I'm going to ask them if they want to move forward with my online tutoring services. You guys, right out of the gate of joining my reading interventions course and doing this strategy of seeing if people would like this free assessment, she ended up getting, it was somewhere between 3 and 5 students that she ended up getting right out of the gate of opening her online tutoring business. She didn't have any students before that. These were her first students. And it was like just bringing that on up made a huge difference. So where can you let people know about the free assessment? First, you can email people that you already know that have kids that might be struggling in reading or not even struggling in reading. This is going to be a practice opportunity for you that could lead into students. You can share on Facebook that you're learning how to take this give this new assessment, and you'd like to practice it on a few students and see where it goes. You can go and be a part of certain Facebook groups where you know the parents that of your ideal students are hanging out, and let them know that you're practicing how to give this new assessment. You can go on Instagram and let them know. You can go on LinkedIn and let people know. So what types of assessments are out there? Well, for reading, I really like using the QRI-6. I started off using the QRI-4 back in 2010 because I had it. And one thing that I knew about this assessment was that there was a disc, so it was all digital already. So it wasn't something that I had to take and digitize and like put online or do anything like that. It was already there. And the QRI-6 is also still online. So I utilize that assessment. It lets me know at the word level, what is the student's grade level, and also at the reading and comprehension level, where are they reading at? This helps me to get enough information to be able to chat with the parent afterwards. And I'm also able to get like, what is a independent reading level, an instructional reading level, and a frustrational reading level. One thing that I have found with reading is that if I can teach kids in the zone of proximal development, also known as ZPD, and I increasingly make my reading activities a little bit harder and a little bit harder, then I can close the gap for them in a very small amount of time. And so that information is pivotal for me. Now, there are some other assessments that you could take a look at for reading, and if they work great for you, utilize them. Maybe you already are using an assessment. I just found that I can give the QRI-6 in an hour or less, and that's kind of what you're looking for a time frame when it comes to giving an assessment. If you want to take a look at some of these levels of English proficiency, there are some free tools online. I'm going to put a link inside of the description so that you can see it. But the levels of English proficiency really take a look at the student's reading level, speaking level, writing level, and listening level with English. And then it gives a 1, 2, 3, or 4. And the Iowa site ends up having it broken down into grade levels. So that's interesting. Like, where should a child be at with specific grade levels? And that's something that you could walk through with one of your students. The math assessments that I like best are the ADAM assessment and the DOMA assessment, which is like pre-algebra. I love those because I love the reports that I get afterwards. Those reports are really, really helpful for me. Now, those are some of the ones that I am most familiar with. You may be using something that you absolutely love, and I want to know exactly all about that. So are you currently using a free assessment to be able to get students, whether you're just learning how to give an assessment or you already know how to give an assessment and you invite people to a free assessment? Tell us all about it. Go to the comment section and tell us which one you're specifically using, what you like about it, and if it helps you to be able to get students. Now, after the assessment, it is super important that you have a sales conversation. It's not like just take the assessment and then take a few days to put the information together and then send that information off to the parent and hope that they move forward with you. You really want to be able to take the information that you've learned about the student while they were taking the assessment, and you could let them know, over the next 24 hours, I'm going to put together a report that's going to go into more detail about what I noticed, because I like to be able to look at all of the information and be able to put it together for you so that you can understand it as well. But here are some of the things that I'm noticing. And so you show them what you're noticing about their child. And maybe you even make reference to, as you were mentioning that they were struggling with blank, I noticed blank, right? Like I noticed they were struggling with that too. And you can go from there with that information. Ask them if they have, noticed anything on their side, something that they want you to particularly focus on if you were to move forward together. Also ask them, what has the school noticed about the child's work as well? How are they performing? What are their grades like? All of those kinds of questions are going to help you. Also, you might want to ask if they've been labeled as having any kind of learning disabilities. And that might help you as well, because sometimes if you don't ask that question, they won't give that information. They're like, you know what, I'll just wait and see if they notice if there's a problem, or they just forget to share that information with you. It's not on top of their mind, and so they don't even think to share that information with you. But then after you have all of that information, you say, okay, so right now, I currently have this time open for tutoring. Is this a time that would normally work for you guys? They would say yes or no and say, great. Are you ready to move forward? Are you ready to get started? Now, it's really important that you ask that question, are you ready to get started? It's also a great idea to already have figured out a way to accept payment from them. So if you're using Stripe, you can take their credit card information right away during that conversation. Or you can set up like an automatic PayPal link where you just send them the link for the PayPal and they're able to pay monthly automatically. That way, it's not they say yes and now you lose track of them and you never hear from them again, right? You want to get that commitment level from them when they're most excited about moving forward with you, and they don't take the time to be able to research and find a different tutor, right? We want to really seal the deal. So having that conversation right after the assessment, I didn't learn that, right out of the gate. It was something that over time I developed, and I have just found that it makes me the most money. I don't have to give away any free sessions. The only thing I'm giving away is something that I would need anyways in order to be able to help that child in the best possible way. All right, you guys. So, that's all about the sales conversation and that free assessment. Check it out. I have another video that I'm going to put in the link for you guys to take a look at if you are interested in learning more about the ADAM assessment and the Let's Go Learn products that are out there. I did a interview with the owners, and you can check it on out and see, are these assessments that you would like to move forward with? That'll be on the right hand corner. And next week, stay tuned, because I'm going to be sharing all about a free consultation and what is the difference between a free assessment and a free consultation. So stay tuned, you guys.